Hello everybody and welcome back to On Point HQ, and a bit of a strange video. Well, not so strange I would imagine, but not one of my normal run-of-the-mill ones. What am I talking about? What am I blethering about? Well, last night while I was painting, I got to thinking about my painting roots. Now, I started painting in about 1991, and back then the only real advice and guidance I really had for painting was through my monthly copy of White Dwarf, or through just speaking to friends at my my local games night. There was no internet, so there was none of that malarkey going on. But fast forward many years, and we've got the internet and this wonderful community of gamers and painters and modelers and hobbyists that we find ourselves within, where we are able to access a plethora of guides, advice, tips, you name it, you can find. You can find the answers you're looking for, is what I'm trying to say. But this got me thinking, what would be my top tips? Now, I thought rather than make a lengthy video about what I would call a top tips video, I'm going to outline two of my top tips for sort of the old me. If I could go back in a time machine to 1991, what would I tell the 13-year-old me back in 1991? What would I tell myself? Hopefully others will follow suit. Just a very short video, two top tips on what you would say to new or aspiring painters and hobbyists within the hobby. What are the two main tips that you would give, or you would pass on? So I thought I'd give my two. My first, I know many of us do this, but to people just entering the hobby, it's not really something they tend to do. Thin your paints. Thin your paints. It's something I didn't do for many years, and the massive globs of acrylic paint laden monstrosities that I used to produce was testament to the fact that I didn't thin my paints. Once I'd learned how to thin my paints and I was using multiple layers, my painting level increased overnight, and you could see it straight away, that I was producing better painted miniatures just through the simple act of thinning my paints. Better control, better coverage, and no blobs of paint all over the place. So that'd be my first tip, would be thin your paints. Dead easy to do, and you will notice the difference straight away. Number two, practice. This is another one. When I started, I'd paint something and I'd leave it for a week, and I'd go back and I'd have a couple of days painting. Where you can, even half an hour a day, whenever you get the time, just practice. Practice on old models. If you've got to strip models or undercoat them again, practice. I can't stress that enough, and that's one thing I would go back and tell my old self, would be to practice. Even if it's 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour a day, it keeps you going. It gets you in that mindset of constantly improving, constantly learning. So they're my two. Thin your paints and practice. I'm sure there's a great many others out there, but I want to know what your two top tips would be if you were speaking to an aspiring entrant into the hobbyist, if you were speaking to your old self when you first started painting. What would be the two tips that you would give that person at the beginning of their painting adventures? So over to you guys. Let's see what we can come up with. I think it'd be quite a really useful tool for people new to the hobby, or just for people like me constantly learning new things. I'd love to know what your two top tips are. So let's get cracking. I hope you find that interesting. I hope you find this whole idea interesting. But I shall catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. I shall see you soon. Bye bye.